Hello everyone, my name is Hemant Kanavala and I manage equity investments at Kotak Life Insurance. Since our last interaction, there have been two important developments, one in India, another in the global markets. First, in India, the government as part of building Atmanirbhar Bharat announced number of measures to encourage manufacturing in India. One may argue that there have been number of such announcements in the past, but we have seen limited success so far. However, I will like to highlight some of the key differences in the current context. Number 1. Import substitution. The government is targeting large categories like electronics, defense and coal, where India has large import bill. The aim is to promote manufacturing this for India and reduce India's current account deficit on sustainable basis. Number 2. Fiscal incentives. Production-linked incentives announced for mobile and electronics manufacturing, where government is giving 5 to 6% subsidy linked to production targets for 5 years. Global companies like vendors of Apple and Samsung have shown interest in this and is expected to generate revenue of 11 lakh crores over 5 years. Similar schemes are likely to be rolled out for other sectors like pharma and consumer durables. Previously, corporate tax cuts were announced in September 2019, which brought India's tax rate at par with other competing emerging markets. Number 3. Non-tariff measures. The government has also announced non-tariff measures like time-linked domestic manufacturing of defense goods and licensing requirement for import of TV sets. State governments have announced land and labor reforms to attract investments. Also, we are looking at favorable global disruption in terms of movement of manufacturing away from China, and India is making efforts to capture large part of it. Agriculture and manufacturing account for 45% of India's GDP. We had discussed agri reforms in our last interaction. Both these measures combined can have far-reaching implications for India's long-term growth potential. However, as usual, execution will be key to achieving desired outcome. The second major development in the global market is dollar debasement, that is, depreciation of US dollar against major currencies of the world. US dollar index, which measures the movement of US dollar against major currencies, has corrected from above 100 in March 2020 to 93 levels currently. Large fiscal and monetary stimulus in USA compared to other countries is the main reason for weakness in US dollar. Rupee appreciation has been gradual due to RBI intervention. India's forex reserves at $537 billion currently. Weak dollar provides a tailwind as we are trying to navigate through current economic challenges. Weaker dollar helps as it improves the availability of capital and also improves the competitiveness of our exports. India has received close to $11 billion from FI in primary and secondary market combined in the current financial year. Banks have received large flows in primary offering, giving stability to our banking sector. There have been minor upgrades in earnings post announcement of Q1 earnings due to better cost management. Companies are also reporting better than expected demand in automobiles and durables. Still, we need to be watchful of Q2 earnings to be announced in the month of October. Price to book multiple of Nifty is close to long-term average. This, in combination with earnings uncertainty, makes risk return less attractive for equity in the near term. Now I hand over to Gajendra, the debt fund manager at Kotak Life, to share his outlook on interest rates.
Hi, Hope everyone is safe and staying healthy in this COVID-19 crisis. Firstly, RBI in its monetary policy schedule in August did not reduce its policy rates. Markets expected RBI to increase HTM limits of banks or cut at least reverse repo to support the fragile economic growth amid COVID-19 crisis. Debt markets turned bearish as MPC stood pat, citing higher CPI readings in the recent months. Markets participants continued to sell bonds after July CPI data, which came in at 6.93, and MPC minutes were also hawkish as fears of generalization of high food and fuel inflation into core and headline inflation emerged. 10-year benchmark GSEC rose from 577 to 619 in August. Short-term GSEC yields rose more than 10-year GSEC as yield curve bear flattened. For example, 5-year benchmark GSEC yields rose from 498 to 553 during the month. Going forward, supply chain disruptions on account of COVID-19 might persist, with implications for both food and non-food prices. A more favorable food inflation outlook may emerge as bumper Rabi harvest eases prices of cereals and other food grains. The relatively moderate increase in minimum support prices for the Kharif crops and the ongoing normal monsoon are also supportive of benign inflation prospects. Nonetheless, upside risks to inflation remain. Higher domestic taxes on petroleum products have resulted in elevated domestic pump prices and will impart broad-based cost put pressures going forward. Volatility in financial markets and rising asset prices also pose upside risk to the outlook. Taking into consideration all these factors, headline inflation may remain elevated in Q2, but may moderate in H2, aided by large favorable base effects. Turning to growth outlook, the recovery in rural economy is expected to be robust, buoyed by progress in Kharif sowing. Manufacturing firms responded to the RBI's Industrial Outlook Survey expect domestic demand to recover gradually from Q2 and to sustain through next year. On the other hand, consumer confidence turned more pessimistic in July relative to the preceding round of RBI survey. External demand is expected to remain anemic under the weight of global recession and contraction in global trade. Taking into consideration the above factors, real GDP growth is expected to be negative. We expect RBI to support the huge borrowing calendar via open market purchases. We also expect RBI continue its accommodative stance on growth concerns. On this backdrop, the 10-year benchmark GSEC could trade in the range of 575 to 650 in the near term. What should the investors do? Retail investors could stay invested for 6 to 9 months as interest rates could remain lower due to growth concerns. Corporate customers are advised to match their long liability duration. Thank you.
So finally, where does one invest? We believe debt offers better risk return compared to equity in the short term. But equity offers good opportunity from 3 years perspective on account of factors discussed previously. However, we will advise you to look at your liabilities before deciding on your asset allocation. Thanks for watching this video and please take care of yourself.